Hey y'all, Vinny OG here. Wanted to do this video really quick um, to go over not necessarily like the meta of Clan Wars, but there's a Discord channel where all the leaders kind of conglomerate and discuss putting things forward and getting suggestions over to the devs. It can get a little bit long-winded, but there are a lot of really great ideas there that I just think need to get hammered out a little bit better. I wanted to talk about one thing in particular. With Clan Wars, really, it's such a fun mode, in my opinion. I've seen people express that they would like more map diversity or switching things up a little bit more. I think those are all kind of low hanging fruit, to be honest. I don't think that takes away from what the mode actually does in pulling clans together, helps you communicate, create alliances with other clans, makes more friends. It's really creating that community. Um, to me, if I'm going to say like good, bad, ugly, kind of start with the ugly first. And something that I really hope is being considered by the devs here, I see two solutions. Basically, you get rid of morale bind. Now, hold on. That means that the devs would then have to say, well, we are losing a crazy amount of revenue off of these whales who buy a lot of morale. I don't know what the numbers are, but I've seen people load up 3 times in one go within a small period, and I know that that's a significant amount of money just in one person spending, right? To me, like I understand the business side, right? Like, wow, this Clan Wars generates a lot of money through morale bind and probably to a lesser extent energy bind. But I'd say morale bind is probably what generates a ton of money for them. So telling them to turn that switch off is unlikely unless you come up with a reasonable thing of saying, hey, the longevity of this game is you will lose players who feel that this game is unfair. So you'll lose if you don't have fish in the ocean, what do the whales eat, right? And ultimately your whales will starve to death on this. So ultimately the proposal being if you get rid of morale spending, then that incentivizes people to play longer who will then feel that their purchases in game to buy units, chests will increase because they feel that spending in the off time is more impactful during the actual war. So you can see where that comes from, and then you have more of a long-term outlook in how we want this game to be structured to be more fair, and then that will increase player retention. Versus, I think people just, for example, there's one time where I just had this giant. I think it was like HST. I forget who it was, but really, really big clan. And they had just posted up at a garrison. We coordinated big attack, had 10 people just hammering this guy. Finally got him down to, like like, all right, we're about to push this guy out and then we can take this garrison. And no, he just purchased all his morale back. Like, what, it's like ish, gross. Like, what does that do that was like the least fun thing ever. But so the coordination and all this work was just completely wasted, and I would say that that is probably the ugliest scenario right there, and just makes it feel like a waste of time. And honestly, one of those things that I could see people just genuinely saying, screw this game, I'm done with it, I want to quit. um that being said, through the last 4 seasons, you can see not only big tweaks with the map being changed, um, but then the small things like, okay, well, we're going to adjust the Crimson Moon to twice so more people have the ability to be active in all time zones, right? We're only doing an hour between that, right? Spider drops and everything. You can tell that the thought is there, but I know that they're scared of losing money turning off that morale switch because I'm sure it generates a crazy amount of money. But ultimately, they're going to lose sight of the forest staring at the tree if they um, continue down that path. The option two, though, would be okay. Well, we just have these. I would imagine their top 100 spenders are just all largely funneled within probably a handful of clans. And then it's just like, okay, let's just have those guys go ham on each other and just freaking make a bunch of money there. And we'll have an opt in to spend and we'll have an opt out to spend clan wars, right? So you can have the the Saudi Arabia clan wars where they just go absolutely crazy and spend completely nuts. And honestly, I think that takes a lot of the joy out of the game and the participation. Or you can opt in your clan to the non morale buying version of that and see how it shakes out. I just think that this is such a good mode and it has such a huge potential for keeping people in the long term. And clearly, it looks like with all this base building, they are planning for other modes, but we can't look too far in the future because we don't know what those are like. We don't know how fun they are. We don't know how balanced they are, yada, yada, yada. So ultimately, I'm just trying to focus on Clan Wars because I do see this as a mode that really brings clans together. I see it as a mode that is fun, enjoyable, and something that ultimately, if they figure out how to do, what could bring this game to the next level. Either way, I hope those thoughts help. And yeah, have a great rest of the day.